We're live. Bearder Bros Golf Show. Back again for another week. Our Texas Rangers local area going into action here in about 15 minutes or so. So I'm Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
All right, we're going to catch up on the happenings of the week in the world of golf. Hit it high and tight. I mean, there was a lot of news, honestly, for a slow week. We have
Yeah.
some old stories coming back to light. We have a repeat champion. We have a first time champion on the LPGA. So let's get into it. We'll just hit the PGA Tour here first. Tom Kim actually able to pull off the repeat at the Shriners Children's Open in Las Vegas. They're playing at TPC Summerlin. The biggest story of the week, besides Tom Kim uh, pulling the back to back, was Lexi Thompson. Man, did you catch any of her first or second round action?
I saw a few of the swings. I didn't really get to catch it in live action, but yeah, what I did see was good. I mean, started putting it better, like what she should be doing anyways on the LPGA, and you saw the difference in how good she looked out there. So, I mean, it wasn't the short game, and maybe it was just a little bit of length or something like that, and a couple of costly, bogeys to
No, it
start.
wasn't even it wasn't even the length that got her. To be honest with you, and you mentioned last
Yeah,
week that
because
you
she
thought
still
she'd be able to
drove that
keep
green.
up. Say that again.
I mean, and she still drove that green, the 15th, like everybody else.
Yeah, she was poking it out there. I mean,
Yeah,
there was a couple drives where, she was, over 300. So, it wasn't the distance that killed her. I think it was just, she wasn't incredibly tight in the first round, which I can imagine leading up to that week, there was a lot of, press that she had to deal with, and I think she said she expected some, just some awkwardness from the guys on tour. We mentioned last week Peter Malnati, making comments about it being a gimmick, which I think that she proved shooting even. Throughout the tournament and barely missing the cut by one stroke, that this
yeah,
was no gimmick and that she's got the
right.
game to compete not week in and week out, but she was able to compete this week. So shout out to her. I think it could have gone incredibly bad had she not performed. And it's particularly given how not great she has played in 2023 for her to be able to gather her game up together for this special occasion and really put her game on display. And I thought it was cool seeing her providing autographs and sticking around for the fans afterwards. So I think it was all in all a pretty successful venture out there in the desert. What do you think?
Agreed. Yeah, same. Not it wasn't a fake. I mean, she went out there, she did her thing to the best of her ability. Again, just like you said, probably a little bit of nerves. I mean, next time out, if she gets another opportunity, I bet you the nerves won't be there. She'll probably play a little bit more freely. But yeah, I mean, I think it was a good showing for what was out there and how the PGA sets up their courses and stuff like that. So yeah, I too think it was a success, even though she missed the cut.
100%, 100%. I think, I looked up an article as well regarding her equipment. You don't hear a lot about what's in the bag for LPGA players, but, she is a Cobra equipment, her primary sponsor, and they just kind of went over her irons. So she's still playing the S2 irons from 2009, which they looked like they were in pretty damn good shape. We've both recently gone through club changes in our bag, and it had been a while. So it's very interesting seeing her play some technology from 2009. I don't think with irons, it doesn't make a huge difference. You find what works for you. If it looks good down by the ball, it's a bit, meatier of a head. She's playing a driver from 2021, a three wood from 2015, and I think the latest club in her bag was probably either her putter, which I think is a Scotty Cameron Go Low, as well
Mhm.
as a utility iron from this year as well. What do you think about the throwback bag from 2009?
I mean, you know, one, I've gotten down a deep dive of this type of stuff, from weekend to weekend. And like every now and again, you'll see these guys that have just found what works for them. They keep going back to it. And, I'm watching some Tiger Woods clips, like the Chasing 82 series on my own personal time. And if you look at it, some of the clips are still doing the same things that we do now. I mean, the guys are on tour hitting from 160 to 170. They're hitting an 8 iron. Same deal is going on right now. Or from 170, Tiger was still hitting like a squished 8 or like a hard 9. Like they're not doing much variation. It just looks better now. But as far as regulations go, there's not much that can be super upgraded besides like the game improvement and the cavity back clubs where there's a lot of help. So these blades and these players clubs that these guys are playing, they're not changing much. So I don't see the problem in it at all, because you know that Cobra and Puma are still manufacturing fresh heads from that 2009 set, and they're probably just upgrading the tech a little bit here and then and using that same face. So she's probably got like some souped up 2022 type 2009 clubs. So you know what I'm saying? So
Just with
I
the same
definitely
look.
exactly. Like I mean, even going back to when we first started playing, like 2013, even back then when the Callaways started doing Epic and Epic Flash and stuff like that, the guys are still using old Big Bertha drivers and stuff from 2 and 3 years in a row and just using the new head cover. So that happens on the PGA Tour too. So I don't see a problem with it. I mean, you saw how long we played those Nike
Yeah,
clubs. Freaking
right.
eight
I think
years
the biggest,
past when they got them.
I, I think more than the heads, I think the biggest change has been to shaft technology. And
Right.
in her driver, she's playing a Ventus Blue, I believe it was, 6X, ultra stiff. And so, clearly that's where a lot of the yardage gains have come from, is the shaft technology and being able to
Okay.
optimize the flex for your swing speed, which is, I think, what she saw. One interesting note about her bag as well is usually she doesn't carry a 5 iron. However, for this week, she put in a 5 iron. I can't remember what she took out, maybe like a hybrid or something to replace that, but wanted to optimize the bag for these particular conditions. And I thought that was an interesting addition. Maybe she just doesn't have a gap, or maybe the 5 iron doesn't, just doesn't fall right into her set normally. And,
Yeah.
in usual play, who knows? But, it was a very interesting note that that was the one change that she made to accommodate this particular week's setup. But, again, kudos to her for performing and not embarrassing herself and giving credence to the haters out there. And I don't use that term usually just because it's overplayed, but the fact that people were speaking out about her being included in this tournament, it was some haters, without being able to actually
For
see her
sure.
perform. I was really rooting for her to make the weekend. That, that would have been a heck of a story, and I think it would have really solidified the point. But she was close and close enough at the end of the day,
Yeah.
and I think she got kudos roundly from across the spectrum of golf commentators and whatnot. So shout out to her for holding her own after a tough regular season year in 2023 on the LPGA.
Agreed.
Again, Tom Kim, really hadn't really performed in rounds 1 and 2. Was able to close it out here on Sunday, but shot a 9 under on Saturday. Went low again on Sunday here, shooting 5 under to really solidify it. The course is one where you can typically go pretty low. He won it at 20 under, so I really want Tom Kim to kind of break out again. He had a really good tail end of last year, got on the board with 2 wins, and, just really performed his butt off and put himself on the map. I just want to see him do that more consistently throughout the year this coming season. One thing that I did notice, and I don't know how much you've watched of Tom Kim, is his pre-shot routine is deliberate as all get out. I did find myself
Yeah.
getting annoyed watching him as he was coming down to contention. Quite a few practice swings and swing rehearsals, and then finally over the ball. I think he's tipping close to that minute once he's on the clock. Have you paid much attention to his pre-shot routine and timeliness over the ball?
Yeah, I noticed it back in the President's Cup last year. I mean, like you when you're putting that much pressure on yourself, then of course you're gonna go through your routine and you're gonna make yourself so deliberate, and then you need the reconfirmations from your caddy about numbers, and you flip the caddy, put the yardage book out back out. What do you got, Mike? You got 165 right to the front, 72 to the middle. Yeah, I got that too. Went a little bit out of the left. Like when you start going over the numbers and rehearsing the numbers behind the ball for that long, man, like it's definitely teetering on the verge of very obsessive and very annoying. I think the main thing is he needs to get into something to where it's like a 1-2 punch. Like you practice. Like I think JT has probably got the best little pre-shot rehearsal to me. You practice one or two positions, making sure it's registering in your brain, and then you go over and then you hit the ball. Like I
Hmm.
mean, you know me. Uh
Yeah,
I don't take long.
I know.
I mean, I
It's
don't
just something
even.
it's just some. It just seems like that's way too much thought. Like once you confirm your numbers,
Right.
again, a lot of his routine centers around kind of getting in certain positions. And I don't know, for a guy of his caliber that plays as well as he does, that seems that's pre-game. That is not on the course
Right.
where you are checking where your shaft is on every single swing. I don't know. I don't know if he's working on something in his swing that it seems like this is overdone at this point, but it was definitely prominent this week for sure. So it just kind of
Hmm.
messed me up watching that, and there was enough to talk about in this week that they were able to keep it moving and have some conversations while he was going through it. But you had to have him on TV just because he was in contention and the defending champ. So shout out to him.
Yeah.
Hope he gets that crap under the control. I'd hate for him to fall on the bad side of slow play and have us
Right.
thinking some other way about him. This coming
For him
week,
not to become that way.
continuing along. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, I had a delay.
No, no. I was just saying. I hope he doesn't become that slow play villain. I just seconding what you said.
Yep. This coming up week on the PGA Tour, as we continue along the season, we have the Zozo Championship. It is a become a kind of a staple over playing over in Japan, kind of late season, continuing upon the golf season, so we don't completely lose momentum. We actually have some pretty sizable names playing across the pond this week. So we have Cam Champ coming in on a sponsors exemption. Minwoo Lee as well. Nikolai Hogard will be in the mix as well. From the PGA Tour, we have Xander Schauffele, Colin Morikawa, Keegan Bradley, Adam Shank, who always seems to just be at the top of every leaderboard he plays on. Um, Ricky Fowler, Sung J M, Nick Taylor, Emiliano Grillo, Taylor Moore, Sahith Theegala, Kurt Kitayama, hadn't seen him in it feels like forever. Adam Svensson, Eric Cole, who got hot today at the Shriners, Tom Hoagie, Cam Davis, Hideki Matsuyama, Mackenzie Hughes, Taylor Montgomery, Brandon Wu, Bo Hostler, Davis Riley, JJ Spawn, quite a few names that you know of that are going to be playing over there. And the list goes on. Adam Scott is on there, Michael Kim,
Yeah.
yeah, man. We're gonna actually have a pretty good tournament overseas. I and nighttime golf. I love me some nighttime golf. Last night, wasn't sleeping that well. Woke up to watch the LPGA tournament in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. I was up catching some golf. So Zozo Championship running this coming week. What do you think about it? Do you typically watch this tournament, or are you kind of tuned out by this time of the season?
No, I watch it. I like it. It's I mean, so Tiger was in it, so of course I just was watching it then, but Keegan Bradley won it, so he's in it. Adam Scott plays Japanese made club, so he's in it. Hideki Matsuyama, hometown boy, he's in it. Ricky Fowler, Asian connection, he's in it. Then of course you got all your Star Wars in there and stuff like that. It's gonna be a great week, and I think that them making it them lumping it in with the fall series is giving some guys an opportunity to kind of put their name out there. So I think it's good on PGA, but also kind of bittersweet because I think it should be a carryover event. I feel like they should still be doing the wraparound season to where this can be, on the FedEx Cup as far as, playoff position, not just this gimmicky, battle for the 125, but like half the like top 50 is not even in it. Like, we're not seeing Rory, we're not seeing Spieth. So like I don't see why they are labeling it that, but I definitely think for the younger guys and like the fall series, and then of course some of the mid-level to high-level type guys, it's going to be a good week for them. And of course, going across the pond, spread the game and keep our name out and a positive reflection out there as well. I think it'll be a good look. So I'm excited about it, and I was up all week for the Shanghai, so I'm definitely looking forward to more nighttime golf.
Yeah, definitely here. Um, Speaking of, so last night on the LPGA, Angel Kim won her first PGA, or excuse me, LPGA tournament after Angel Yin, excuse me, not Angel Kim, Angel Yin after 159 starts, which for some reason with her, they love to mention how many starts that she's had, and she had a couple shots at majors this year, but there's been a lot of concern about her mental fortitude and being able to hang in there and win tournaments and play well when it matters. She ended up
Yeah,
winning in a playoff versus Lilia Vu, she's Lilia Vu is now the world number one woman, winning two majors this year. And, ended up taking it on the first playoff hole, hitting it in pretty tight as they replayed 18. Pretty straightforward par four with water down the left hand side, even going into the green. And she just kind of laid it out on the right hand side. Perfect flag, kind of sitting in a bowl. And I think she was able to get it
yeah.
within about 12 feet and drain her putt with Lilia Vu going long left with a really long putt coming back up the green. So shout out to her for getting her first win. You could just tell it was a huge monkey off of her back and being catch it live. They ended up wrapping. It was probably 2, 3 o'clock local time for me, and looked like they were losing light over on that side of town, or on excuse me, on that side of the world. Um, what do you think about Miss Angel Yin and her getting her first win? She looks like a lovable character. A lot of fans, amongst the players that
Yeah,
seem to like her in the locker room.
I think I mean, you saw it in the Solheim Cup, just a very natural, very aesthetically pleasing swing, even for a young lady. I mean, like it's just a powerful move. She gets to a nice high finish, and I mean, she moves it out there. It's not like it's not weak at all. So whatever she's doing, she needs to keep doing it. And I think they interviewed her after the third round when she made a push, and she was like, and they kind of frame that and was like, hey, what do you think about all the people that say you can't get it done, and what's going to be your mentality going into it and stuff. And luckily she seemed very lighthearted about it and was like, I'm gonna just go out there and play my game to the best of my ability. And I mean, she really did that. And honestly, she really had a chance in regulation to win it because 17's a par five. She was maybe 30 feet out and hit a left or righter, just kind of left it on the right edge, made the birdie to tie it up. Then 18, she had like another 30 footer like over the mound into the little bowl that you were describing for the win outright to not even go into the playoff with Lilia. So I think she's trending the right way, and they still got a couple more, maybe 3 or 4 more weeks left of the LPGA. So she's definitely got some time to turn it up a notch and get ready to go into 2024 on a positive note. I definitely think she'll be, and she'll be right back in the Solheim Cup again the way she's performing. So, I mean, with that win, I'm pretty sure she's almost sold up on points as far as that goes. So, I definitely think she'll be well on her way this year.
100%. Really enjoy seeing her play and just her joy in the game. You can just tell she's the ups and around, and just seeing her finally make it over the hump was really relieving on her end, and sharing that moment on the green with her fellow players and her caddy. Yeah, shout out to her. I think she's getting over the hump. You hope to see big things from people as they are able to kind of reach that milestone and learn how to win. Hopefully she continues this going into the 2024 season, and even just continuing as they finish up on the race to the CME Globe
Yep.
as well. So shout out to the LPGA putting on a good event overseas. That's always been kind of something that's in their pocket, and they've never shied away from playing on that side of the world, and kind of getting the LPGA reach out there, which
Yeah.
to a certain degree leads into kind of vaguely our main story for the day, which is those LIV boys came back into the news this week pretty heavy. Apparently growing the game isn't enough for the official world golf ranking to give them points. That's just not enough. It seems like playing golf in a standard format tournament that everybody else around the world plays, and this team aspect seems to be hurting them. This week,
Right.
officially being denied their official world golf ranking points. That does not look like that's going to happen for them. And there were a couple of points that were made. Going back to April, Munoz had a putt in a tournament. I believe it was the Orlando tournament, that he could have, if he hold it, he would have won. Two putting would have won the team championship. Brooks Koepka could have three putted or something like that. And when Munoz was interviewed after the round, he spoke to his strategy for the team. And that honestly it was one of the factors that the official world golf ranking pointed to when deciding that look, it's hard to have this team competition along with an individual competition, and that those decisions that you make as a teammate may impact how you individually play. So how can we rank you
Right.
when considering that, in addition to just the non-standard format and this relegation thing. And it kind of seems like the rules seem to be shifting on who they're going to relegate. Some part-time players have kind of skewed their numbers, as I think there's a couple of guys who have had a part-time status out there. Lee Westwood, who would be up for relegation near the bottom of their league, has a multi-year deal, and part of that deal says that he can't be sent down to the Asian tour. That would be quite embarrassing. So when your qualifications can be adjusted depending on who you are, I don't know. The seems fair to me. The emotional reaction from the LIV guys is kind of more of the same, more par for the course, pun intended. Um, what do you think about this latest week of complaining from the LIV guys?
I think it's very pointless. I think it's very, I mean, I think they're just trying to play on your heartstrings because at the end of the day, it is a 3 day, 54 hole event that barely constitute as a full PGA Tour event. Now, if we go to a major, they're going to try to force that fourth day in. That's the difference. Until you get a fourth day on there, what are we even talking about? That's why I don't even take this serious because you're it's a joke. Like it's literally a joke, bro. I don't care how good you are. It's not the full formatted tournament for the majors that you want to qualify for. How are you going to qualify for it if you're not playing a major style event? A major isn't a team event. A major isn't a 3 day event. It's not 54 holes. It's not you two putting so that Smash FC or some is gonna make it. You trying to make the punt for you to win the moolah, for you to win the big trophy. I That's why I'm trying to stay even kill about this, and I'm trying not to go off the deep end because it's really just a moot point until y'all make it 4 days, 72 holes. I don't even know what we're talking about, man. I really don't. This is just, it's got to stop.
Yeah,
Whatever,
it
man.
really does, especially when you're talking about Bryson DeChambeau trying to say that the top 12 in the money list for Live should make majors. That should be the new qualifying standard. We've said this throughout the year and the last 2 years, really, in different ways. Is that you made a choice, you knew what you were stepping into. Stop trying to change the rules to accommodate what you did. Your
Right,
decision has been made. You have to live with that decision, and or come back or figure out a way to
right.
get back to where you
Take your money,
qualified.
or shut up.
Yes, you get to pick, right? You had a choice. You were able to make a life changing amount of money. You have to deal with the consequences. You don't get to take the
Yep.
softball way and then also just get qualified for the highest tournaments in the land because you haven't been consistently playing against it. And we're not the world golf ranking has never considered quote unquote talent, and them saying repeatedly that they
Right,
have 48 of the most talented guys in the world. No, you don't. We can look at the list of players. The back half of the league is pretty garbage. There's a lot of
right.
aging guys. There's guys that have not trended well in the last 2 years. There are a ton of guys on that list that were actually on the downswing of how they were playing going into the
Anyway,
live situation.
right.
Exactly. But were picked up despite that and based on accomplishments. This goes back to the whole you don't get a lifetime achievement award. You have to go out there and earn it every single day. Even when we talk about the PGA Tour, just as a reference point, a few weeks ago we had Jimmy Walker, who's an a-hole in his own right,
Yeah,
complaining about the change in the FedEx Cup qualification to the top 70 versus previously was the top 125. My guy,
play
you
better.
got to go out there and earn it every single year. You get no lifetime achievement award. Period. Every
Play
single
better.
year, unless you go win a tournament, you said it. Go play better. Compete. Get in the top 70. It's changing. To me, this gets into some kind of sticky arguments. So you want golf welfare now? You want people to give you more money. That's
Right,
on the PGA and live side. You want more money for less. I don't think
no,
that works that way, right? On the
right.
PGA Tour, y'all want higher purses. Guess what? The qualifications and the field's got to get tighter. And
Yeah,
who
limited
qualifies for that higher
fields.
money? 100%. You got to go get it. So, live. I'm tired of the weak sauce arguments. It's very emotional. It's very predictable. I know the news caused them to have to recomment on these things, but
Yeah,
it's nothing that they've added of substance to this argument. So I hope that for their sake, they can, convince their league to change the structure. And I know a lot of their guys went over there to play less. You're still playing less tournaments
right.
overall or a comparable amount. Let's just say a comparable because they're having to get these Asian tour events in to earn points otherwise. So talk to the league about the structure. Get 4 day tournaments in. Change who qualifies. Yes, if some people are going to get relegated that have multi-year contracts with Live, it is what it is. Like you said, play better. It's a simple
Yeah,
solution. Lee Westwood, get back in shape, get to playing more. You were one of my favorite kind of underrated guys that I've wanted to win sneak in there and get a major at the end of your career just because he was a solid ball striker. But again, that's what money does to you. And when you don't have to go out there and earn it and that money's going to come to you regardless, then you stop working as hard as you did before.
yeah.
Uh,
I think it comes down to a few key points. You want to play for a lot of money, and that's fine. That's okay. Talk about how much money you're going to make. Don't talk about how you're qualified for a major in a gimmick event. Talk about how much money you're going to make, okay? If you want to play real golf, come back over, play some 4 round events, some cut events, and we talk about the pedigree of it. Straight up. First of
Yeah.
all, that's that. Second of all, when it comes to the level of golf that you're playing, sorry, you're catching a stray here, but like Anna Barn Lahiri, you ain't been in the top 50 in 4 or 5 years, bro. You're doing very fine to be over with them LIV golfers making the money you make, because otherwise you would have been already relegated to the Corn Ferry Tour or PGA Tour Canada or PGA Tour Latina America, whatever you may want to call it. But buddy, you would have been making your money elsewhere because it wouldn't have been on the PGA Tour talking the way you talk. And I think that's why he's quiet. He ain't one of the ones out here arguing in the lawsuit, out here going to court, because he know what he's about. You know he's about that money because he ain't got the skill, and that's how half of them guys is. I mean, bro, that look, see, I'm getting ready to get riled up because I'm just, oh my
Yeah.
god, man, it's
Yeah,
killing me,
yeah.
man.
You got a bunch of guys that had maybe a couple hot years, got some name recognition,
Louis
capitalized
Oosthuizen,
off of that.
Charlie Schwartzel. Okay, bros. I used to love y'all. Y'all ain't shit now. What are we gonna do? Move on. It's okay. It's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that.
Right. When this, I think I saw a post on like Zyre Golf on Instagram, and it was about this. And I think the interesting part is that midway through the year, the ratings were so bad on the CW that they just stopped announcing the ratings because they were so poor. And,
Right.
I don't think at this point they're even making a blip on the record. You don't get any, I think for a while, ESPN, Golf Channel, they were
We
actually starting
tried.
to include some highlights and, you're getting
Yeah.
alerts, but that stopped completely. It's not even registering anymore. And the one comment that I made, and it's like, it's offhand. If a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it, doesn't make a sound. And so it's crazy just to think about that because who's watching live at this point? I mean, I will generally tune into a PGA Tour, I don't know, what is it,
Anything.
Japan, anything over live. It's just not easy to find. You don't really know when they're playing. It's so far in between that you're
Right.
just like, okay, unless you catch some random clip of, like you sent me earlier this week, HV3 cussing on the course and saying some wild stuff. Okay, I wouldn't have even known that they were teeing it up
Right.
this week outside of that, or
What
us
was that
knowing
even
that
that
Kepka
week?
played the week before.
No, was that
It
even
might
that
not have
week?
been,
Right. Was that pre-recorded? Was
right?
that from a
It
different
might
week
not
when
have
y'all
even
played?
been,
Right.
and it just caught flack. I don't know, man. You're right, but did you know what? Here's the thing. Did I even care to go look
Nope.
it up? No.
Nope.
I don't think I've watched a actual live swing in real time since their Mayakoba event earlier in the year, and the
Yeah.
play and the competition of it all was so bad. I think it was Peter Uline had a chance going down the stretch, and then he just kind of crapped, on it, and then was laughing about it after the round. I was like, I cannot do this, man.
It's
This
not
is not
serious golf.
competition golf.
No.
No.
It's funny because
Yeah.
one of my favorite IG
It just
influencers,
make Go ahead.
Gabulous Gabs. Shout out her because she doing her little social influencer thing. But her and her friends went out to the live event in Chicago, and they didn't even show the golf. Her story was her experience behind the ropes at the tents, having fun with the cameras and with the drinks and with the and with what was going on. There was no at no point was there any golf being filmed or shown, or any swings being shown, or any groups being followed. So again, pretty gimmicky to me. We're talking watching and actually going to play golf. So again, just saying, didn't real seem real to me, but
Right.
you know,
Yeah. I mean, those two things cannot. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say they can't coexist, but you're either an entertainment product or you're a golf product. And
right.
the fans can have fun, but this can't all be about the players just having fun. It is competition. It is professional sports. It's not professional entertainment. And you have to perform as such. And the fact that you cannot even really feature the golf or say that this is high quality golf, um, I mean, it says a lot about the league. And I know we had to talk about it just because this was official news, but it's much to do about nothing. I mean, I don't think this is going to change. They're going to
Thank you.
tee it up next year, 2024. They have plans to play the full season, but it isn't going to change. This is what we're going to be talking about. They're probably going to try to appeal this decision, keep pushing it forward. They're going to claim that it's politics and that the PGA Tour is stopping them from getting points. I think that
Yep.
argument is becoming less and less valid, particularly with the Saudi PIF and PGA Tour, as well as the
Thousand
DP
percent.
World Tour. The kind of framework agreement. I don't know if you can continue to make that argument that they're trying to keep you guys down. Yes, there are some people that will never appreciate LIV and will, give them the middle finger until the end of end of time. But you can no longer say that there's not a kind of symbiotic relationship. They're trying to bridge this thing together. So pointing to that argument is very emotional and weak sauce, and it just makes these guys look ridiculous every time that they spout one of these arguments out here.
Yeah. I think if they actually were patient. So here's the next thing to me that, and I'm not the smartest or the sharpest tool in the shed, but I would like to say that I am kind of, intelligent enough to know you probably, as a live player, should not make a push for world ranking points again until this merger is solidified. Then, once you have PGA Tour backed, DP World Tour backed, tournaments and things where y'all are playing in those events again, like, hey, well, we're a live player and I'm playing in this event and it's merged. We're all the same tour now. Why can't I get points now? I think that's when they need to make their next push, their next argument. Because until then, they're still playing on their gimmicky events. And it's all their own format. All the live golf league format. There's nothing incorporated from PGA or DP World Tour, except for the fact that they can reapply to be on one of these tours and play actual events and play in actual golf tournaments and stuff like that, not these TV shows that they call themselves playing. So I think they need to sit on their millions like they're doing and try not to lose too much money before they make another push with all these lawsuits that they're going to have to pay for and legal fees. And then, of course, it actually not being golf until it's golf. So, again, that just,
Yeah,
just throwing it out there, just an idea.
yeah, I agree, 100%. Cool, my guy. That is our list for the week. I'm hoping that when we turn on these Rangers here in just a bit, they have started off to a hot start against the in-state Houston Astros. Hopefully, they're not stealing too many of those signals from us, and we can
Still,
we can
hopefully, you can
have a
have a good,
successful
hard
series.
fall baseball season. Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah, cool
Hopefully.
beans, man. We'll be back next week. The Bearder Bros Golf Show. I'm Rod.
Now, Marcus,
Catch y'all next week, man. Peace.
peace.